Hi everybody, welcome to UPSCprep.com. As you can see in the screen, I'm Shakun Singh. I'm the faculty for reading comprehension, and this video is simply a last minute value addition for the essay paper. And the idea here is कि आपको 15 मिनट देना है खाली, और 15 मिनट में मैं जितनी बातें कर सकती हूँ in terms of actually increasing your marks, I will do. बहुत ही स्टैंडर्ड है. आपको क्या करना है, बस सुनना है. You just need to sit here and listen, and this could potentially mean a difference of 20 marks in your essay, and you know what those 20 marks can do for you in terms of your rank. So not wasting any more time, let's get straight to it. So let's talk about what do you expect in this video, right? Simple, like I said, value addition for the essay paper. It's quite simple actually. Essay is your opener. और अगर आपको क्रिकेट समझ आती है, you know an opener is a very important part to set the entire mindset of the game, right? So an essay, if that paper goes well for you, that will set a very calm, cool mindset in a way that you'll know that, okay, in this paper, I know I'm getting marks. So even in let's say GS4, I'm able to write less. Somewhere or the other, these marks in essay will compensate. Right? So open well. That's the keen idea. And that's the whole objective of this video. So let's talk about the basics. Number one, do not choose a topic you do not understand. इसका क्या मतलब है? आपने अगर ऐसा टॉपिक समझ लिया और ले लिया कि मतलब जिसका आपको मतलब ही समझ नहीं आया, and you start writing anything, you literally write anything that you want to write, you will not score in your essay. So don't do this. Choose a topic in which you actually have a clarity of understanding, even if the clarity is 80%. Go for the highest percentage. Second, always go for topics which are more familiar because that breeds creativity. If you're familiar with the topic, you won't get nervous. If you don't get nervous, you have studied a lot to get here, okay? You have cleared the prelims paper, which happened to be the toughest in years, and you have reached here. So you reach to that source and you actually get creative with the sort of ideas that you can present. You can create interlinkages. Geography का, history का, आप pol science का सारे points ला सकते हो. So do that. Third thing, do not overdo points and create linkages. What does this mean? Do not over-explain yourself. Everybody likes precision. And remember, you're living in the era of Instagram where instant gratification is a thing. If instant gratification is a thing, you cannot possibly afford to overdo or over-explain your ideas because the examiner will get bored. If the examiner gets bored, you're done. Genuinely. And when I say you need to create linkages, this means if you're writing one paragraph, the second paragraph needs to be in correlation with each other. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप यहाँ पे गांधी जी के बारे में लिख रहे हैं, फिर suddenly आपने यहाँ पे you start writing about the history of USA. Makes no sense, right? Create one linkage sentence which says, okay, if you're talking about USA here and Gandhi here, you're saying why is this comparison being made? That's a linkage. Fourth, adding quotes, stories, other flourishes of the languages takes second preference to hitting the topic directly. What does this mean? अगर आपको किसी टॉपर वीडियो में उस टॉपर ने बोला है कि आपको ये कोट्स यूज करना चाहिए, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप यही कोट्स यूज करेंगे. आपको टॉपिक को डायरेक्टली हिट करना है. And how do you hit the topic directly? 3 rules. Be relevant. This means if they're asking you about the sun, you talk about the sun. You do not talk about the moon. If they're asking you about Chandrayaan mission, you do not talk about Aditya L1. You stick to the topic, right? You be relevant. Generate interest, right? You have to sort of become a narrator in your essay. A narrator, and you have to keep that interest well, right? So if you are relevant and you're able to be witty, if you're able to generate interest, half of your battle is done. The last thing that you need to remember is concision. You need to be precise. You need to be concise. You cannot overwrite. है ना? कम लिखो. ये basics है. Now, let's come to the value addition part of it, which I was talking about, right? Quotes. पहली चीज है कि we have a list of quotes that we will be providing to you at the end of this video. Up, go to the Telegram channel, and that is where you will find it. But I am sure you already have quotes yourself. You must have collected them in the entirety of the year, right? Now, idea is you use the quotes to substantiate a point. I am telling you from my own experience. I have seen essays where people give one quote, write 2 lines, then give another quote, then write 2 more lines. That does not make any sense. आप context में समझाओगे ना किसी चीज को, right? If you put a quote, the quote is just there to enhance your answer. It cannot be your answer itself. Cool. So that's the general rule on quotes. Plus, you'll find the link in the Telegram channel. Just go there and download it. Second, data matters. How does an examiner know you are somebody who's stating opinions as compared to somebody who is stating opinions with facts behind them? Now, what does this mean? This means अगर gender gap का data है आपके पास, अगर climate का data है आपके पास, अगर आप वो देते हो to substantiate your answer, that sets you apart. This is when the examiner knows that this kid has actually studied or this aspirant has actually studied and he knows what he's talking about. Secondly, how do you know what is relevant data here, right? Go and check the past few essays, past few years, and see what kind of questions are being asked. If you see a repetition in climate, definitely keep one report about climate. If you're seeing a repetition in gender, definitely keep one report about gender, right? This just means that you should have a 2-pager, both for quotes. Quotes ka you can have a longer pager, but I would just say 2 because usse zyada aapko yaad nahi rahega. 2-pager for data, 2-pager for quotes, which you can basically look at night, one day before the essay paper. And when you wake up in the morning, before you're going to the essay hall, you browse through that. Because essay is an exercise of your own creativity, right? These facts, if you read them just before, if you use your short-term memory here, it will play well with you. So quotes are done, data is done. Let's talk about historical imaging. Now, this is very important. A lot of people give examples of, let's say, Chauri Chaura incident of Gandhiji, which is great. But you need to get a little creative. You have studied ancient, you have studied medieval too. And there are lots of examples from there which you can quote. Now, let me give you an example because I'm talking about examples, right? Let's say about urban infrastructure and the sustainability of the same. You can always substantiate your point by saying urban infrastructure and the sustainability of the same is important because of whatever we witnessed in Delhi, whatever we're witnessing in the hills right now, and saying that Indians know urban infrastructure. Why? Go to Mohenjo-daro, go to Harappa, go to, let's say, Cholas and how they preserve their water. Talk about these things because you have studied these things, right? This is not a prelims fact. You take this, you substantiate your answer like this and say, because Indians know it and we have known it for a very long time, we know how to plan well for urban infrastructure. This shows a positive outlook deeply rooted in history. This is how you make your essay extremely good and this is how you stand apart from the crowd. Cool. Now let's move on to the fourth point. Rooted in the Constitution. Constitution is your Bible. Constitution is your Gita, Constitution is your Quran, and Constitution is basically the holiest book for a civil servant. So you need to give examples from here. I'll show you exactly how, okay? Especially if it's a philosophical essay. Now, a ship in the harbor is safe, but that is not what the ship is for. This was an essay that was asked last year, right? Now, इसमें क्या बात हो रही है? इसमें potentiality की बात हो रही है कि if a ship remains in the harbor, remains safe, his potential will not be discovered unless they are put in situations where they can actually discover it. So you look at the Constitution and you see what are the examples that I can give from here. Can we talk about DPSPs? Can we talk about directive principles of state policy? And can we talk about how the Constitution of makers of India thought that if we leave these provisions to India 20 years from now, and they can utilize this to get out of the safety of what a state is supposed to look like. That is why our Constitution is transformative. That is why it creates the change that it does. So you see that even our Constitution allows exploration to the state itself, and you are individuals. This is a very good point to make when you're writing an essay. It basically substantiates your argument. It basically tells the examiner आपको आर्टिकल्स ही नहीं पता, आपको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की इथॉस पता है, तो ऐसे आप इंटरलिंक करो। अब क्विकली आगे बढ़ते हैं, because I said 15 minutes. Now, committees and personalities. I've seen a lot of examples of personalities, and Gandhiji is a favorite, as he should be, the father of our nation. But how do you actually use these committees and personalities, right? That's the idea. How do you actually substantiate these points? You yourself are somebody who has done probably a graduation or a master's, right? So your opinion only counts if it's substantiated by either data, by either what committees are saying, or by ideas of personalities. For example, if it's about rural villages and panchayati raj system, who else is better than Gandhiji to actually substantiate your argument for whatever you are arguing for in terms of rural economies, right? He's the best person to give it. So you use committees and personalities not as a display of your knowledge. You use it to substantiate the argument you are giving, because you're automatically displaying and showing off your knowledge if you use it, right? You don't need to just list things. You need to list things in context. आपको स्टोरी में आप रैंडम कैरेक्टर्स तो नहीं डाल सकते ना, तो ऐसे सोचो. अब global perspective. In whatever essays I've corrected, the ones that I have at least scored the most is where I've seen global perspectives. Now, how? ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव्स के वजह से मैं ये बोलना चाह रही हूँ कि ये नहीं कि आप यूएस में ओबामा है या यूएस में बाइडेन है या यहाँ पे ये हो रहा है वहां पे ये हो रहा है बात करेंगे. नो, वी यूज ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव इन दिस मैनर. वी थिंक ग्लोबली to take solutions and act locally. What does this mean? If you see solutions which are there abroad, which can be applied in India, you give those examples. Let me tell you one short story, right? In Zambia, what they do is they take girls and they allow them to actually have a negotiation class. They train them in negotiation. And what is this negotiation for? To talk to their parents. Simple. Talk to their parents and allow them to actually go to schools. So they learn negotiations so that उनकी स्कूलिंग ना रुके, वो ये आर्ट यूज कर सकते हैं अपने पेरेंट्स से बात करने के लिए. तो ऐसा सोल्यूशन जो जाम्बिया में हो रहा है, is it not applicable in India? It 100% is. So your job becomes to look at these global solutions और चैट जीपीटी का इस्तेमाल करो, आपको हजारों आइडियाज ऐसे मिलेंगे, and apply them in answers, right? As soon as you apply solutions like this, you are set apart. It will definitely help you in increasing your answers. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Last, the story of you. A lot of people use their own stories. A lot of people make up their own stories. A lot of people actually start essays by talking about something that happened in their family or something that happened in their scenario or in their villages. Now, this is the easiest way to get things done, right? Story of you is very important. However, if the story of you is not relevant to what is being asked in the question, right, then it just becomes a long read for the examiner. Now, please remember, the examiner has 20 papers to correct, okay? And 20 is a very small number, like off the top of my head, 20. They have so many things to do. If you make them read a paper which they are not interested in, you're going to lose marks. So अगर आप अपनी stories use कर रहे हो, make sure that they are interesting. Make sure generic stories नहीं है कि मेरा एक दोस्त था और हम दोनों साथ में मिले थे, फिर हम दोनों ये बात की और हमने decide किया और democracy अच्छी चीज है. ऐसी stories नहीं. Story of you should also be relevant to what is being asked in the question. If you don't stick to the topic, you're going to lose marks. Awesome. So final thoughts. All the best. I really hope you sail through the paper, that your opening goes well, that आप जितना अच्छा कर सकते हो उतना ही अच्छा करो. The entire team of UPSC Prep really wishes you every good thing that is possible for the upcoming mains. Just remember a few things. आपके खुद के frameworks हैं, आपके खुद के ideas हैं, आपके खुद के identities हैं. बस एक रात पहले ऐसे के पहले just doing this collection will give you a lot of confidence, because you know that when you wake up the next morning and you just browse through these ideas, you will be able to sort of get them back in, right? So अपने आप से जाके ये वाली list बनाओ. Use this as a checklist, right? Okay, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. Take only 5 things that you can remember and utilize this. All the best, guys. I hope your papers go fantastically well.